So the bottom line is that, and the title of the article is the Hymnal Industrial Complex.
Yeah.
The idea is that until the 20th century, parishes, if they wanted to have music, they simply used polyphony that was handed down to them, polyphony or chant that was handed down. They didn't go around. Of course, you didn't have photocopy machines even up until the 1950s, but they had ways of hand copying printed texts for music, and those bound books of music remained with the parish for the entire life of the parish. They were passed down from generation to generation to generation. No one was paying licensing fees. You weren't buying new hymnals every year. You weren't even buying hymnals for the entire congregation. You had a choir, and that choir provided the music for the mass. It was appropriate for the mass. So everything was already established. Well, in the 20th century, with the advent of the printing press, and now that everything has become a lot less expensive when it comes to the publication and sale of books, it started with the publication of missals. Now, this is not in our report. I'm just giving you some background.
Yeah.
It started with the publication of missals, so that people could follow along and pray the mass as the mass was being said. And they were printed in both the vernacular and in the Latin. So you could hear the Latin, know where you were, and then read the vernacular so that you could understand what was being done. And it was marvelous. It was beautiful. People loved it. With that came the idea that, well, maybe we should start including more people in the songs, the hymns that we sing. So we'll have the choir singing, but if somebody has a beautiful voice and they're in the congregation, well, maybe they want to join in. So they started printing hymnals that would go primarily to the choirs, not really the general congregation, but primarily to the choirs. And that way, everybody had the hymnal music that they could sing from, and it was all pre-bound and published and easy to go by. Again, you still weren't paying licensing fees.
Yeah.
It was because all the music was in the public domain. It all belonged to the church. So it was all the patrimony of the church. It all belonged to all of us. Then came the 1960s.
Yeah.
And everything got upended. Once they realized that the church was going to change the mass, they also recognized that, well, it's time for the church to change her music as well. The church said, well, we will allow this kind of music, but chant still has to have a place. Chant still has to be preeminent. They've all but eliminated chant. It's gone. When was the last time you actually heard real chant in a church? Oh, you might get the sing-songy chant. Oh, Lord, we love you for your mercy. No, that's not chant. That's just a sing-song recitation of the words. So it's not chant. So they published these hymnals that had things that were written by, say, the St. Louis Jesuits. And then they also included things that were written by Protestants in the 1800s. So you had a lot of these, because why? Well, because we now changed the mass to look more Protestant, because we want to be more aligned with our separated brethren. We want to make it more appealing to them.
And now in most Novus Ordo parishes, those are considered like the traditional hymns.
Sure.
The old
Please turn to the music issue number 237.
Oh, wait.
I
Then
am
you
the
get
bread of life.
Then you get this one.
Yeah.
What is she holding up? I don't know what she's holding up. Anyway, so
her aspirations to become a priest. That's what.
Exactly. That's why she wears a stole.
Yeah.
She stole it. But the whole point of what happened in the 1960s was to upend the church. In 1966, and this is going into the report now. In 1966, the Gregorian Institute of America, GIA, Gregorian Institute of America, which was founded in the early 1900s. The purpose was to spread polyphony and to spread chant and show it in the beautiful glory that it is, was purchased by a gentleman with the last name Harris. And in 1968, he changed the name of Gregorian Institute of America to GIA Publications, Why?
Gamish Institute of America.
To well, to hide the fact that it was originally intended to spread polyphony and chant. So now they've automatically changed the purpose in 1968. Our report, because I go into who the current president of GIA Publications, he is the son of the guy that purchased it in 1966. And it turns out that Alec Harris, who is the current president, is a Jew.
Oh,
He
the
is
early
also
life got him.
What's that?
The early life section of Wikipedia got him.
No, it was in his own bio, except it was not in his bio on GIA Publications. Now, my first question was, why is a non-Catholic the president of a publishing house for one of the largest publishing houses for the most hymnals that are spread throughout the Catholic Church in the United States? Why is the president of that organization?
What made you look into this?
As I mentioned to somebody else, you tug on a thread and eventually the entire sweater unravels.
Yeah, because the video you put out, it was like every single person that is behind this, it's essentially a mafia, right? They strung on these parishes and forced them into these contracts, and every single one of them, you guys got to go watch the video. It's crazy because it's like this one woman, it turns out she's like a gay activist. She went and stole the Eucharist. She went and stole the Eucharist to bring it back to somebody that the priest denied the Eucharist because they were in an openly gay relationship. It was like, it's crazy, the video. You guys have to watch it.
So Harris, he is a member of the Chicago Sinai congregation, because I wanted to know who he was. You know, it's like, so you're the head of the organization. Who are you? What do I know about you? I look at his profile on GIA Publications, and it doesn't say anything about his religious affiliation. It's almost assumed, especially with the last name Harris. Oh, he's, probably Catholic, even just a bad one. Well, then I find out he's part of this Chicago Sinai congregation, which very clearly, and this, let me read this to you. This is a quote from a speech that he gave in 2022. He said, "I run my family business." So this isn't a church business. It's not a Catholic business. It's a family business. His family business, a music publishing company called GIA Publications with 75 employees. That is my real full-time job. I'm in an interfaith marriage. My wife, Carolina, and I have been married for 28 years. I'm a child of a Holocaust survivor. My mother has an understandably fraught relationship with organized religion. Carolina also has a it should be fraught relationship, but I doubt that I would be here if not for her. She asked me early in our relationship if I cared whether our children had a religious upbringing. I said, yes, it should be Judaism. We encouraged that choice, but challenged me to engage them and learn more to be responsible since I was the Jewish partner. So I wanted to know more about what this meant. What is his affiliation? What does his congregation promote? I found that he also serves as the co-treasurer for the Union for Reform Judaism. And the Union for Reform Judaism has official positions pushing abortion all the way through every aspect of pregnancy. And they have official positions on LGBT equality, saying the reform movement has been advocating for LGBTQ rights since 1965, when the women of Reform Judaism called for the decriminalization of homosexuality. And then they also have a 9-point resolution regarding transgender and gender nonconforming people. And it says, be it resolved that the Union for Reform Judaism urges the adoption and implementation of legislation and policies that prevent discrimination based on gender identity and expression, and that require individuals to be treated equally under the law as the gender by which they identify.